I have been largely silent in regards to what's happening in America, coming to a head amidst protests, peaceful and otherwise, and a lot of the footage that's being posted, and just everything that I'm consuming, and that I'm sure you are consuming as well, whether it's via social media, which I've spent hours and hours on just trying to make sense of all of this, which is very difficult to do. And I can't imagine how the African American community has been doing it for so many years. Not necessarily making sense of it, but just getting up every day, going to work, going about your life, all with that knowledge of the fact that you are going to be marginalized today. You're going to be treated differently or less because of the color of your skin. There's a lot of media out there, a lot of stuff to consume, but more recently I've posted and saw something from Casey Neistat and from Gary Vaynerchuk, and I'm just trying to decipher what can I even say, because we have this podcast, we have Not Your Mother's Podcast, and we've historically done our best to help others, generally cult survivors and victims of sexual assault. And I'm, I haven't, the podcast hasn't said or done anything, and I'm the one that puts out that media. And so recently, just in the last few days, I've just been mulling over what do I say, what do I do, how can I speak to anyone about anything when I don't personally have that experience. But guess what? I don't personally have the experience of being sexually assaulted. I don't personally have the experience of a lot of the people that have been guests on my podcast, but I want to give them a voice. And so right now with the pandemic, with everything being on lockdown, I wanted to come to you personally, me to you. I'm not necessarily trying to point you to any kind of media outlet or any kind of personality to consume your content from, or this person is always right or this person is unbiased. You'll find them. There's a lot of them out there. But when everything first started happening and really coming to a head, more recently following the death of George Floyd, my initial reaction, my initial thought was to lighten the mood, to just, oh, here's some happy things, and here's some, I think I posted something from Fred Rogers, It's You I Like, which I think is a beautiful message. And there's a lot of things that we could all learn from Fred that are very specifically related to what we're seeing today. But my first thought was, me personally, or maybe the podcast, would be sharing, content that's just happy and uplifting. And I think that there is a huge place for that content even now. But my problem, as I thought that over and said, okay, well, maybe I'll just, that's just all I'm going to do. I'm not going to, really speak out on it or have anything to say, because what can I say? What can I do? Which that is not the right spirit to have. And I've moved past that. There's a lot of things that you can do to help the momentum of a movement, to be a good human, to help other people, to show love in these times, and to make your voice be known and help other people amplify their voices. There's a lot of things that we can do, whether it's peaceful protests, whatever it is, unless it is something that is, perversely unkind or is harmful. Please, I would ask, people have been patient with me because I haven't posted anything about this as of yet. Please be patient and please be kind and try to understand where people are coming from with what they're posting. Obviously, if it is, if it is painfully obvious that they are being, again, unkind, if they're being racist, whatever it is, like, that's another thing. But if it's easy to get misunderstood these days in the thick of all of this, and something that I've always tried to push to, especially the podcast, but friends in general, is that circumventing things does not make them disappear, if that makes sense. So if we go around this issue like America has been doing for so long, if we keep going around the issue of Black Lives Matter, and they do, by the way, and if that's something that statement is something that stirs something in you for change and you want to help people, great. If that statement stirs something in you that, just you kind of, you maybe cringe a little at it, or it kind of upsets you, then I'm not here to be unkind to you about that. But I will say that it's something that I would like, I can't tell you what to do, but I'd like you to be a little introspective and think about why does that make me default to all lives matter, or just upset you in general? Why is that? So I've got to say something. It's not right for me to try to push people to happiness and uplifting and just keep going on, as if life nothing has changed. It's oh, can't wait to get back to normal, or can't wait for this. That I don't think we're really going to have the same normal. Not just from the unrest that we're seeing now, but COVID and everything. Like I think within a few months, I hope that there are some resolutions on some things when it comes to equality, for just human equality and human rights. So I had to say something, and I wanted to share my thought process in all of this. And I feel like I am probably not the only person that is looking at this through the lens of not just horror, but like, okay, but what can I do? What can I say? How can I help? And practically, there are so many resources. Legitimately, just search your social media, search the internet, and if you are looking for something and you're saying, as a white person, I don't know, what do I do? How do I help? Let me know. There are a lot of resources that have been provided to me that I would be happy to pass on to you, but I would be surprised if you consume social media consistently. I'd be surprised if you haven't seen them in your timeline already. Guys, this isn't a new thing, right? Like racism isn't a new thing. Systemic racism isn't a new thing. And the way that people of other races, specifically African Americans, are treated in America, that's not new. So I don't want people to get the wrong impression that, oh, well, he's talking about this, or people are talking about this now because for some reason that, like, no, like it's always been that way here. So the thing that I would like to say, if I could get one message out there, if I could tell you one thing that I think we could all apply, and it's not my place to tell anyone what to do, I'm aware of that. But if I could get one message out there and tell people one thing and say, hey, no matter your profession, no matter the color of your skin, no matter your religious beliefs, no matter any of that, all the things that we define others by and define ourselves by, all those things aside, there is one thing, and I've seen it a little bit here and there. People talk about empathy and people talk about, it's the opposite of hate. We'll do that then. And there are a lot of beautiful messages out there, and I hope that all I'm doing is helping those other messages along in some small way. Love is huge. I think love is important. And I think that the love versus hate conversation has to be had. We have to keep having that conversation, not just this week and this month and this next protest you go to. We have to keep having this conversation of love versus hate. Right now it's revolving around skin color. Absolutely it is. But love versus hate is a common thread for humanity, and it's something that is going to continue. And I am of the belief that bitterness and hate, whether they may seem to get someone to the top of the pile in business or politics, in the end, I am of the firm belief that love always wins. Whether or not that principle is shown through your income, is shown through your recognition, any of that, I don't care. I don't think that really matters. I think it matters in here that you know that you let love win in your own life. And I think it's not the exact point that I'm getting to, but I think that's one of the big ones, letting love win and realizing that love is gonna pay off. For you personally, the end of your life, or just looking back over whether it's your accomplishments or your friendships, whatever it is, love is always going to win. I am a firm believer of that. So beyond that, the main point that I'm trying to get to is that doing the right thing, this is my one message. I know it took forever to get here. This is my one message. If I could share it with the world, doing the right thing is always the right thing. So do the right thing. It's not that difficult. I know there's a lot of different ways to complicate the intricacies of the human life, and networking with other human beings, and there's a lot of tricky situations. I understand that, but just do the right thing. I've talked to a lot this past week. I've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to friends and family who are at peaceful protests. I have talked to friends who are police officers, and the resounding sentiment that it's not my job to tell them what to do or how to live their lives, but the resounding feeling, and the thing that keeps coming to the surface, and the thing that I feel the most strongly, and the thing that I know that I can do, and we all can do, is to do the right thing. And that's not going to look identical for all of us. We all have different lives. But it is going to come down to being kind, to loving others, to showing empathy, even if you don't understand someone's situation. And that's difficult. I know that's difficult because I've had to do it. And there are times when I've avoided it. And when I look back, 100% of the times that I have not deployed empathy, that I have looked past someone's situation and just tried to argue with them or fight with them about whatever the subject was, I've always regretted it. And I always will. And I'm not going to live in that regret, but it teaches me a lesson moving forward to deploy empathy, to love other people, and to do the right thing. It is, again, I understand that different lives have different complications, but doing the right thing is always the right. I will stand by that for all of my life. I think that Gregory Peck's character Atticus Finch put it very aptly when he said, talking to Scout, his daughter, in the film To Kill a Mockingbird, he said, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb inside of his skin and walk around in it." And I think that is a very important quote for today. I think that for every day, but right now, with everything that we are seeing, with everything that we are a part of, with everything that we are realizing or being hit in the face with, hey, this has been going on for hundreds of years, and it's time to do something. It's time to really do something about it. And with all that being said, kindness, empathy, love. I put this up here. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I'm a father, and Chloe wrote this. I haven't shared with her the breadth and width of what's going on, but I've shared with her a little bit of it. And when she found out what her mind could handle, process, this was her message. This was what she wanted people to see. This is what she wanted people to know. I didn't tell her I'm doing a video and you should write this. I just shared with her a little bit about what's going on. Again, what she could comprehend, and this was what she wanted to say. Love everyone. And I think that falls in line. That falls, my opinion, is that doing the right thing, all of that falls on beneath it, right? Doing the right thing, empathy, love, kindness, compassion, all that falls under doing the right, and a lot more, right? It's not just those things, but for me, those top the list. That was all that I had to say. I'm sure I didn't get all of this just right. None of us are going to right now, and I'm sure, and my goal is not to tell anyone how to live their lives or what to do. My goal is just to spread the message of doing the right thing. It's always the right time. It's always the right thing to do the right thing.